insane. Crumbling towers, streets in flames, forgotten heroes, who knows their names? Broken futures, shattered dreams, end of times ain't what it seems.
Hello friends, this is Sam Cheney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, August 4th, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Monday edition of Weaponized News. A lot to get to as usual here. The House of Representatives, the Federal House of Representatives, is still on vacation, but don't you worry, your key representatives are in Aardvark land, kissing the wall there. So isn't that wonderful? Showing their allegiance to America, right? Like that. What do we got today? There's big goings on in the state of Texas as they're trying to do this redistricting vote, and the Democrats in that state have left the state, not allowing them to have quorum to be able to carry on the voting about redistricting. We'll see how this sorts out. A lot of big talk from the Attorney General and the governor there in Texas. We'll go over that report about holding them accountable, feeding into the left-right paradigm there for you. What else do we got? They're announcing federal government's going to investigate itself, apparently. The Justice Department is opening a federal grand jury investigation of former Obama administration officials who allegedly conspired to whip up the Russia hoax. More bread and circuses. Look over there. Look over there. Don't talk about Epstein. We're going to keep talking about Epstein. They're all tied up in it. All your favorite oligarch heroes are tied up in it, it seems, including Trump. And so we're going to keep talking about Epstein. Will anybody get in trouble from this? I seriously doubt it. I seriously doubt it. It's reported here in the New York Post, they're looking at Obama. He's not going to get in trouble. Former director of national security or of national intelligence, Clapper, he's not going to get in trouble. And former CIA director, Brennan, he's not going to get in trouble. And former FBI director, Comey, he's not going to get in trouble. So there you go. More bread and circuses. Look over there. Look over there. Don't look right there at Epstein right in front of your face. So more bread and circuses there for the hopium addicts out there that we're going to get some justice someday, maybe. The meme of the skeleton at the keyboard waiting for justice. That's where I'm at. I know that's where you're at too in the audience. What else do we got here? Today, we'll go over those. Well, it was originally reported. Well, we'll get to it. A lot of aardvark tyranny news here in America. We'll get to that. Yeah, but Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, Christian Zionist piece of trash, is over there licking the wall, kissing the Western Wailing Wall, showing his allegiance to the cult. Instead of doing Americans' business in the House of Representatives. Look over there. Don't look at Epstein. What else? What else we got here? We got public health news. As is in the headline, the feds are announcing a new food pyramid, dietary guidelines, essentially. They're going to roll it out in September. Why wait? Do it now. Yeah, you got to wait another month. Who listens to the food pyramid anyway? I don't know. Maybe. I guess all of your government institutions do. They do feed a lot of people in this country. The starvation there in Gaza is ongoing. And we'll go over, they did allegedly, Hamas released this image of a starving aardvark hostage they have, and that's horrific. And so it begs the question, why Why would they shoot themselves in the foot like this? It's looking at, reiterated again here. America's public health. HHS, how we're fixing the organ transplant system that betrayed America? We'll get into that. Don't you worry, Maha. Pfizer CEO and all big pharma CEOs essentially are attending a Trump fundraiser at his golf course. So, Maha, there you go. A little bit more public health news, and then what else do we got here? We got big technocracy, scientific dictatorship news today. What are they doing with ICE here? We got our, as is the thumbnail, pure propaganda. They don't even hide it. I mean, I'm embarrassed for them, but I guess if it works, you keep on rolling with it. Here it is. Straight up propaganda recycle. You can see your fasci sticks right here. And I don't even know what this is, World War II, maybe even World War I. The classic U.S. crime syndicate, federal government propaganda right here. They're repurposing it. I guess that does save a little bit of money, maybe. But they need you to join ICE today. They're looking to recruit, 10,000 plus ICE agents, as Trump is falling extremely short on his promise for mass deportation. We got a bunch of Palantir news, the scientific dictatorship technocracy that went in the back door, really the front door actually. But of course they lied to us. Doge, Musk, Trump, the whole crew lied through their face to us. And we wouldn't have it any other way. What would we even do in this country if the government actually told us the truth? Then, because they always say, "Oh, if the people knew the truth, they just couldn't handle it." What if they actually told us that maybe they couldn't handle it? I don't know. We're so used to just never-ending propaganda and lies coming out of the government that I don't know. Maybe I would have a mental breakdown if they actually told the truth, but it'll never happen. So don't worry about it. What else do we got? Yeah, a bunch of Palantir news. Our own slavement's coming. They're going to open up FEMA camps nationwide. Of course, it's for those dirty, illegal aliens, but don't you worry. Don't you worry. ICE-run detention centers coming to a neighborhood near you, similar to Alligator Alcatraz. Of course, headed up by Ice Barbie, dog killer, Christy Nome. We have that report for you. A lot of biosecurity state. What do you even call it? Let's just call it scientific dictatorship technocracy. And that pretty much wraps it all into one little nice package for everybody. A lot of that news today. It's quite horrific, quite horrifying, but half of MAGA cheers it on. So, but I'm claiming top bunk at the FEMA camp if I even make it there. I have serious doubts I would even make it to the FEMA camp for dissenting against a tyrannical government, dissenting against aardvarks. Maybe a FEMA camp imprisonable offense before too much longer here now, as things are trending in that direction. So I'm claiming top bunk there at the FEMA camp. I'm sure I'll meet up with some of you there if we even make it there. I doubt we will even make it there. We got a little geopolitical news. It's pretty quiet out there. Pretty quiet. I didn't do that much digging, but we have some horrifying drones, weaponized robotic drones coming out of China. We've got Brazil news. We've got India news, India response to Trump's tariffs. We've got another 6.0 earthquake off the coast of Russia. Of course, Putin's bad, and Putin caused it. bunch of aardvark news. It's off the scale. It's quite literally insane. They've lost the rest of the world, but by God, America will stand by aardvark's side till the last Palestinian is killed. You better believe it. So we got all that. It goes on, the horrific nightmare that's called, they're still calling it the war against Hamas. There's no war. There's no war. There's genocide, ethnic cleansing, the Greater Aardvark Land Project, but there's no war going on there. All of that and much more on this Monday edition of Weaponized News. Let's get to this day in history for you. Quite a bit, actually, on this day. And I got lazy again. I did not write it down, so I'm going to have to just read it off the screen here for you. On this day of August 4th, going back to the year 1753, we saw 21-year-old George Washington become a master Freemason on this day. Isn't that wonderful? In 1790, on this day, we see the United States. See, this is part of the dishonesty, lying by omission. Anytime the White House, I notice, sees a big report they don't like, they just say fake news. Just write it off. It's fake news. But the government lying by omission here. And by the way, it is Owl Awareness Day for you occultists out there. And it is the, what anniversary? Some big anniversary for the Coast Guard. But they just say Coast Guard in all the government announcements. It's the 100 and some odd. Let me find it quickly here. It is what? See, since the Coast Guard, since 1790, the Coast Guard, but they're lying by omission because it wasn't called the Coast Guard originally. On this day, the United States Revenue Cutter Service is established to serve as an armed custom enforcement service, becoming the U.S. Coast Guard in 1915. They leave that part out and celebrating the anniversary on this day of the United States Revenue Cutter Service to become the Coast Guard in 1915. They leave that part out. Not so nice when you put it in those terms. We actually put things in true terms at one time, a very long time ago in this country. In 1862, on this day, we saw the United States government collects its first income tax. It's very good of them there. In 1873, on this day, part of the Indian Wars, we saw Custer clash with the Sioux Indians while protecting a railroad survey party in Montana. The U.S. 7th Cavalry under Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer clashes for the first time with the Sioux near the Tongue River, killing one man on each side, kicking off some big Indian wars, actually. In 1892, on this day, the Borden murders. Sunday school teacher Lizzie Borden's father and stepmother are murdered with an axe in Fall River, Massachusetts. Borden is later arrested, tried, and acquitted. Apparently she didn't do it, just like OJ, right? Right. Okay, she didn't do it. She's acquitted. More lies from our federal government, what we truly love out of America. On this day, in 1914, a proclamation of neutrality was issued by then U.S. President Woodrow Wilson, saying that the proclamation of neutrality to keep the United States out of the war in Europe, World War I. Yeah, they lied again. Why the world went to war in 1914. Allegedly, the official story says it was due to the assassination of the Archduke Ferdinand and his wife Sophia, Duchess of Hohenberg. Yeah, that's the official story. I know it sounds crazy, right? But on this day in 1914, Germany declares war on Belgium over this incident, allegedly, and Britain declares a war on Germany. In 1917, on this day, Pravda, out of the Soviet Union, calls for the killing of all capitalists, priests, and officers. Hitler receives Bravery Award. In 1918, on this day, Hitler receives the Iron Cross First Class for bravery on the recommendation of his aardvark superior, Lieutenant Hugo Gutmann. Huh? Yep. Yep. In 1925, on this day, the U.S. Marines leave Nicaragua after a 13-year occupation. On this day in 1955, then President Eisenhower authorizes $46 million for construction of CIA headquarters. That's a lot of money today, right? I'd still say $46 million is a lot of money, even though it's lost value significantly. But imagine the value of $46 million in 1955 to build a CIA headquarters. Well, thank you very much, Eisenhower, for that. Quite horrific. Indeed, let's never forget more lies of the U.S. government here. On this day in 1964, North Vietnam purportedly engaged U.S. Navy ships in the Gulf of Tonkin for the second time, resulting in the U.S. Congress passing the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, granting authority to assist any Southeast Asian nation facing communist aggression. A later investigation deems the second attack never happened, as shipboard communications were misinterpreted. So what did we get? Over 58,000 dead U.S. soldiers, countless others injured, countless others PTSD, shell shock, whatever you want to call it, screwed up for the rest of their life, psychologically, physically. Over 1 million Vietnamese killed, all based on a false flag that literally didn't even happen. Thank you very much, lying criminals in the U.S. government, for that. Initially reported by Admiral Morrison, Jim Morrison's father of Doors rock and roll fame. Strange coincidence there that a lot of these big rock stars in the 60s and 70s turned out to be sons and daughters of U.S. military intelligence. Sure, it's just a coincidence, isn't it? Not a social engineering mind control program that the U.S. military launched on the American population. Moving forward here to, as they scream, did I miss a 1977 here? Let's see. In 1977, on this day, then U.S. President Jimmy Carter establishes the Department of Energy to suppress alternative energy breakthroughs further than they already had been. And as they scream democracy and shake their fist in your face here in California, on this day in 2010, California's Proposition 8, a ballot initiative prohibiting same-sex marriage, passed by the state's voters in 2008. Democracy! Well, it's overturned by a Judge Vaughn Walker in the case Perry versus Schwarzenegger. So, through judicial tyranny, they said, F you voters. The gays can get married. We don't care what you say. Democracy! In 2020, on this date, the United Nations says the bat disease out there creates the biggest educational disruption in history. affecting nearly 1.6 billion students in 190 countries, or 94% of the world's population. And it wasn't the bad disease, it was government policies, public health policies. Thank you very much. A year later, in 2021, on this date, globally known as bat cases out there surpassed 200 million, with a death toll of 4.2 million, according to John Hopkins, domestic terrorists here in America and worldwide, actually. The great medical school there. Yeah, totally legit. And in 2022, we saw, and what's going on with this? Why hasn't InfoWars shut down yet? What is going on here? On this day in 2022, InfoWars, Alex Jones is ordered to pay $4.1 million in compensatory damages to parents of child killed in Sandy Hook massacre after Jones claimed it was a hoax. And then there's that big old $1 billion ruling, but somehow, some way, InfoWars still in there. I don't know. Maybe be a shill for Trump. I don't know. Very sad indeed. And on this day in our civil rights history, on this day in 1960, FBI COINTELPRO memo orders disruption of Puerto Rican independence organizations. The FBI memo on this day ordered the Bureau's notorious COINTELPRO program to disrupt organizations advocating independence for Puerto Rico. COINTELPRO, created on March 8, 1956, was a secret program that engaged in a variety of illegal activities against targeted organizations, including wiretaps, burglaries, theft, the forging of documents, and the dissemination of disruptive disinformation. And that's your loving federal government for the greater good of America. And no one gets in trouble for all the crimes they commit against us. Same as this Russia hoax. In 1964, on this day, bodies of murdered civil rights workers were found. The bodies of civil rights workers James Chaney, no relation here, he was black, I believe. Maybe there was in the wood pile, as they say. But same spelling, James Chaney, bless his soul. Andrew Goodman and Michael Schwarzwerner, who were murdered near Philadelphia, Mississippi on June 1st, 1964, were finally recovered on this day. Chaney was an African-American native of Mississippi. Goodman and Schwerner were white volunteers in the Mississippi Freedom Summer Project that began on June 21st, 1964, the night Chaney, Goodman, and Schwerner were murdered. Freedom Summer was a summer-long effort that brought about 1,000 volunteers to Mississippi to register African-American voters and to conduct freedom schools for young African-Americans. Their bodies were found on this day. In 1973, on this day, Supreme Court refuses to halt U.S. military operations in Cambodia. Isn't that good of them? In a case, Schulsinger versus Holtzman, decided on this day, the Supreme Court refused to stop military operations in Cambodia during the Vietnam War. Member of Congress, Holtzman, a Democrat out of New York, was the lead plaintiff in the case. Congress had voted to discontinue all funds for military operations in Cambodia in June 1973. And on July 25th, 1973, in response, Holtzman's suit, a federal district court ordered an end to the U.S. military operations in Cambodia. The Supreme Court reversed the decision on this day. And remember, all going back to the fake hoax Gulf of Tonkin incident, which never happened. which gave him a blank check to carpet bomb Southeast Asia. It's truly disgusting. And on this day in our civil liberties history, in 1984, right? 1984, wink, wink. A bizarre warning, the NSA warns of, quote, peril of electronic surveillance. In a development that seems bizarre and unavoidable and unbelievable in light of later developments, the National Security Agency, NSA, on this day warned of the peril of electronic surveillance made possible by advances in technology. Wasn't that good of them? Isn't that good to warn America about that? Oh, by the way, they're spying on you. 1984, right? Indeed, on this day. Okay, here's the segue to the news for you. It is some propaganda about the Coast Guard, aforementioned here. And so I guess they're claiming 1790. What is how long is it? Anyway, oh, there you go. It's the 235th birthday of the U.S. Coast Guard. Lockheed Martin on the post from the government posted there. Well, they love all that military industrial complex money now, don't they? So I'd be wishing them happy birthday too if I was making $1 billion on the back of unaudited Pentagon budgets. Here's the propaganda video from the U.S. Coast Guard. Segue to the news for you on the 235th anniversary. There you go. But aforementioned, was the original name? The original name was the United States Revenue Cutter Service. They left that part out. Shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in over there on the chat. I see you guys keeping it lively. Thank you very much for tuning in and chatting it up there. Okay, what do we got? We got the shakeup in Texas. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton released a statement on state's Democratic lawmakers who fled state to break quorum. Here's that statement. Attorney General Paxton issued the following statement in response to the radical Democrat members of the Texas House of Representatives who fled the state to break quorum. Instead of showing up to work and doing the jobs they were elected to do, House Democrat members have fled the state in a cowardly dissection of their responsibilities as elected officials. These jet-setting runways abandoned Texas, abducted their duties in the House, and sacrificed their constituents for a publicity stunt, said Attorney General Paxton. I'm prepared to do everything in my power to hold them accountable, but these liberal lawmakers are not above the law. It's imperative that they be swiftly arrested, punished, and face the full force of law for turning their backs on the people of Texas. In 2021, Attorney General Paxton's office successfully secured a Texas Supreme Court ruling that held that the House could arrest absent members to secure their presence and establish a quorum. All this is a publicity stunt by the Republicans. So talk about hypocrisy, calling the kettle black. Nothing will happen. Maybe they'll, bring them in there for a quorum, but no punishment of any significance. The ruling helped create the current legal framework, which allows for rogue lawmakers to be found, arrested, and brought back to the Capitol. I doubt if they'll even do that. Maybe they will. We'll see. Here's the governor, Abbott, loves aardvarks more than Texas. Directed the Texas Rangers to investigate fleeing House Democrats for potential violations of Texas law. Any Democrat who solicited or accepted funds to break quorum may have violated bribery laws. Texas Rangers must quickly send any finding to the appropriate prosecutors. Again, bread and circuses, bullshit. They're not going to get in trouble. Okay. What do we got here? This is funny. The most transparent president in history. Where's the Epstein files? Who killed JFK? Who did 9/11? Huh? Look over there. The most transparent administration in history. Most transparent president in history. The White House says. Huh? This guy did Diligent Didison on X says they're trying to talk anything but Epstein right now. Voting maps, alien motherships, underwater earthquakes, fake Russian news, anything. The truth is that we are 7 months into Trump's second term and not one Epstein client or co-conspirator has been arrested. That is the truth. Don't matter. Look over there. There are aliens, cat videos. Come on. There's something more interesting than, Epstein, blackmail operation. And here it is, one of the big distractions. Again, I would like to see them prosecuted, arrested, and thrown in jail for the rest of their life for all the crimes, not just the freaking Russian hoax, but all the crimes these bastards have committed, not against Trump, but against all Americans. Ex-Obama official faced federal grand jury probe into whether they promoted false Trump-Russia ties. Now, do we really believe any of these big dogs in the government are going to face any serious consequences? Because I surely don't here now. But anything to distract over there for MAGA. Trump and current Director of National Intelligence, Rogue from X-Men, Tulsi Gabbard, have called for a federal probe into the early days of the Russia collusion probe dubbed Crossfire Hurricane. They've referred it to, again, I read this at the beginning, but for the new listeners, the Justice Department is opening a federal grand jury investigation of former Obama administration officials who allegedly conspired to whip up a scandal about President Trump's purported links to Russia during the 2016 election campaign. The major legal development opens the door to criminal charges against Obama, not going to happen. Clapper, not going to happen. Brennan, not going to happen. And Comey, not going to happen. Because guess what? They're all the government. Here they are all pictured here. And I forget that one guy's name all the way on the right, but here they are again. Our great federal intelligence agency that violates every single right you have under the Bill of Rights and natural law. Yeah, we need more rope, if you know what I'm saying here. But none of them will get in trouble. Look over there. Let's hear now the report here from the War Channel, Fox News.
Fox News can confirm that Attorney General Pam Bondi today signed an order directing an unnamed U.S. federal prosecutor to take evidence to a grand jury relating to an alleged conspiracy to tie then 2016 candidate Donald Trump to the country of Russia. Now, Fox News reviewed the one-page order just hours ago signed by the Attorney General. A source familiar with the probe confirms this as well, while a DOJ spokesperson declined to comment on this report of an investigation. Fox is told Attorney General Bondi is taking the referrals from Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, quote, very seriously. The spokesperson says that Bondi believes there is, quote, clear cause for deep concern, end quote, and a need for the next steps. Now, this move, Will, comes just a couple of weeks after the Director of National Intelligence, you see her right there, Tulsi Gabbard, sent a criminal referral to the Justice Department regarding what she says proves there was a conspiracy to undermine Trump's candidacy and later his first term in office. Now, to be clear today, there are no charges that have been filed, no indictments. This is incredibly early in the process. What we have here is taking evidence the Justice Department believes it has to a grand jury to secure an eventual indictment or indictments. We don't know exactly where the grand jury will meet. We don't know who will go before the grand jury, and that's by design, because grand juries determine if there's enough evidence to indict, and grand juries are secretive in the American legal system, so it's normal not to know all of the answers. Again, the DOJ declining on any comment regarding this investigation. But, Will, big news, this was signed by the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, today to take this evidence of an alleged conspiracy to a grand jury with the hope to get an indictment or multiple indictments.
Well, Fox News sounds like a conspiracy theorist to me there. But no word, no talk, no care about the violation of numerous American citizens' rights. It's just about the Russian collusion hoax that these bastards right here, these traitors to the American people, yeah, we get no representation whatsoever. But God forbid they did a conspiracy against Trump. All part of the wrestling show there for you. Are you not entertained? Your pieces of trash congressmen are over there in Aardvark land on recess. Isn't that wonderful? And so a bunch of them went over there. As of today, it's been confirmed that, how many of them here? There appears to be a private delegation of Republican, quote, lawmakers, criminal scum, traitors, organized outside of official AIPAC channels. So they're going even above and beyond. Maybe they're true believers in this whole Christian Zionist end of the world prophecy, including meetings with Aardvark officials and a visit to the aerial settlement in the occupied West Bank. I think we do have video of that where they're like, the rest of the world says this is an illegal occupation of the West Bank by Aardvarks. And they say, we don't care. Huh. No U.S. senators are reported to be part of this group. And who is that group? Of course, piece of trash, burn in hell, Mike Johnson, Christian Zionist, Speaker of the House. Michael McClure, Republican out of Texas. Nathaniel Moran, Republican out of Texas. Michael Cloud, Republican out of Texas. And Claudia Tenney, Republican out of New York. A separate AIPAC funded trip for freshman House Democrats led by Steny Hoyer. He's not a freshman. That guy's like old as dirt. But it's led by him and Pete Aguilar, Democrat out of California, and Hoyer is a Democrat out of Maryland, is scheduled to depart later this week and may include meetings with Aardvark Prime Minister, your Lord and my Savior, Benjamin Netanyahu. However, no specific names or participants are known publicly yet. So we'll report on those Democrats doing their Aardvark Worship Festival representing America later in the week. Here is Code Pink head Mia Benjamin, members of Congress, including Mike Johnson, Speaker Mike Johnson, are in aardvark land, not their districts. They visited the illegal settlement, praised the IDF, said nothing about the settlers terrorizing Palestinians. Shame on them. They don't serve us. They serve AIPAC. Well, let's watch this short clip.
Congress is in recess, so I'm packing my bags for a trip to Los Angeles to see family and to participate in protests. But where is Speaker of the House Mike Johnson? He's not in his district in Louisiana, a district that's so poor 38% of the population relies on Medicaid. No, Speaker Johnson is in, you guessed it, Israel. Let me tell you the names of the other members of Congress with him. Nathaniel Moran, Claudia Tenney, Michael McCall, Michael Cloud, all Republicans, all to provide cover for Netanyahu's regime. And guess who organized the trip? Well, it's called the U.S.-Israel Education Association, but it is simply a front group for AIPAC. You know, Johnson went to the Western Wall yesterday and he prayed, and he said that he prayed that America will always stand with Israel. And then they visited an illegal settlement in the occupied West Bank, a blatant endorsement of Israel's plan to annex the entire West Bank, which they call Judea and Samaria. They said nothing about the violent settlers who terrorize Palestinians every day, burning their homes, shooting farmers, even killing U.S. citizens. And oh, they're going to Gaza, but not to show their concern for the starving people, but to praise the despicable so-called Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, a group of callous mercenaries who, together with the Israeli soldiers, are murdering starving people every day as they risk their lives trying to get a little bit of food for their families. Shame on these Congress people. Shame on Mike Johnson for abandoning his struggling people back in his district to pose for photos with war criminals. These people do not represent America first. They represent Israel first. They represent occupation, death, starvation. They are not leaders. They're collaborators in war crimes.
Oh, she left out. Oh, the settlers are attacking Christian churches there in the occupied West Bank as well. Yeah, but it's Christian, according to Mike Johnson. And so this was a strange story that you had to stay on top of today. But at the beginning of the day, apparently, it was being reported Trump administration to withhold disaster funding for state cities who boycott aardvark land. The Trump administration conditions $1.9 billion in FEMA disaster preparedness funds on states and cities not boycotting aardvark companies. States must certify they will not sever commercial relations specifically with aardvark companies. Well, that's not fascist at all, right? The policy targets the boycott, divest, sanctions movement, BDS movement, which Ice Barbie's spokesperson labeled as antiseptic. But so they issued this earlier today. I think the main report was out of Reuters, I want to say. But then turns out they're really not that tone deaf, or maybe they are and they just don't care. Who knows? They could be lying, but here's a head fake that they gave us. Department of Homeland Security here, another lying by omission. We already caught him lying about the Coast Guard today, and now we catch DHS lying to our face here, lying through omission. There is no FEMA requirement tied to aardvark land in any current NOFO. No states have lost funding and no new conditions have been imposed. FEMA grants remain governed by existing law and policy, not political litmus tests. DHS will enforce all anti-discrimination laws and policies, including as it relates to the BDS movement, which is expressly grounded in antisepticism. Those who engage in racial discrimination should not receive a single dollar of federal funding. And that was replying to this Axios post. Headline states that boycott aardvark companies will lose disaster relief funds. And then, oh, here's your line by omission. Thank you to Community Notes over there on the X. They say the section about BDS and aardvark land was only just removed. It's a misrepresentation to act as if it was never there. But we were just told by the White House, this is the most transparent president in history. Huh? You mean they're lying to us? We just caught them twice here today. But what about this post, MAGA? Isn't that romantic? Trump at the sunset, the back of him, thinking up more lies. You could put a caption here. What lie will I tell? The most transparent president in history. Well, we just caught him here at Weaponized News. 2 lies today, lying through omission, misrepresentation from your federal government, because that's kind of who they are. Lying criminal scum, crime syndicate. Truly disgusting that anybody supports any of this bullshit. Sick of it, man. Sick of it. Wake up, Americans. I know our audience is, but damn, man, it's just disgusting. Here's little Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, wearing his little kipka, little hat over there at the Western Wall. I think this was like, yesterday or 2 days ago. Well, thank you for representing the people of your district there in Louisiana, Mike Johnson, over there at the stupid wall. Oh, we're getting, they don't want us to play this one. Some videos, X throttles. I don't know if you guys notice that on your feed, but I definitely notice it.
Speaker of the House of Representatives in America, we're here with a delegation of members of the House. We're so Mike Johnson, the 56th Speaker of the House. Mike Johnson,
Here we go. Okay.
The 56th Speaker of the House of Representatives in America. We're here with a delegation of members of the House. We're so grateful to be in Israel, particularly on this day, recognizing the destruction of the 2 temples and 2 times in history. But it is such a moving time for us to be here at the Wailing Wall. We've offered our prayers. We put our notes into the wall as just traditional. And we're so moved by the hospitality of the people and the great love of Israel. Our prayer is that America will always stand with Israel, and that we will we pray for the preservation and the peace of Jerusalem. That's what Scripture tells us to do. It's a matter of faith for us and a commitment that we have. God bless.
Truly disgusting with the Schofield Bible. Burn in hell, Mike Johnson. How you like that? Burn in hell. You evil bastards. Even some aardvarks know. The aardvarks say here, Torah aardvarks say, if only American leaders would realize that Zionism is merely an exploitation of aardvarkism, and that their constant conflation of our aardvark faith with a political entity is endangering American aardvarks. I don't know. They're telling them, I guess they're anti-septic, these guys, right? They should be sanctioned, probably droned, the whole 9 yards as it goes. It's all so tiring and so disgusting and outrageous. It really is. Okay. Continuing here, we got a lot more aardvark news, but we had to get that out of the way. They want to bring about the friggin' apocalypse according to their fake prophecy here, and build the 3rd temple is what this is really all about now, isn't it? For the fanatics, for just the end of the world doomers, all of them, right? Okay, and they'll probably wind up starting World War III over it. Hot World War III. Okay, you got Gavir over there provocateuring his usual duties, I guess. We got those reports later. Okay, here is First Lady Melania Trump, rumored to be one of, in the stable there of Epstein, but that would never happen, right? First Lady Melania Trump announces opening of Christmas volunteer and performer applications there. So if you want to volunteer and perform at the White House for your oligarch leaders, go ahead and sign up there at the White House and be the jester in the circus there for your oligarch leaders this 2025 Christmas season. Surprised we're even allowed to celebrate Christmas in aardvark occupied America here. What do they call it? Zog? Indeed it is. Report out of Bloomberg, the FBI redacted Trump's name in Epstein files. What? Nah, they wouldn't do that, would they? I don't know. I guess it's fake news out of Bloomberg. The Bureau's FOIA team, tasked with conducting a final review of the records, blacked out the names before higher-ups said last month that releasing the documents would not be appropriate or warranted. Well, no, because it exposes all these him, her, and all the rest of them behind them, all of them in their satanic cult there. It exposes a whole bunch of them. And fake news out of Bloomberg there, I'm sure. Okay. On to, well, where are we at here? Let's take the live commercial break right now. We're almost at the hour mark, the 52-minute mark. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com, get some stickers over there. We got the holograph sticker, the white background sticker, and the clear sticker here for you. At Weaponized News, help support independent reporting and analysis. Go to weaponizednews.com. You can see the store link at the top there. We have some books in there as well. We do appreciate the support. Get some stickers, though. That's the easiest thing. Help spread the word about Weaponized News. Put it on your laptop, your bumper, your guitar, your work locker, your Cybertruck, and help spread the word there and support this broadcast. We take donations. All the links are in the description below this video. PayPal secure donation link is right there on the front page. You can't miss it. We take donations. We take Bitcoin. Our Bitcoin wallet address is in the description below this video. We truly do appreciate everyone's support, all our subscribers. We're blowing up for some reason. It's been like 2-3 weeks already now, just steady followers, subscribers on Substack. Shout out to Substack audience out there. We appreciate it. Like, you would think doing a daily show 5 days a week, we would get more traction right there. But big tech has us on a list. We're all shadow banned all over the interwebs. But somehow, some way, Substack we're breaking through. And so bless their hearts over there at Substack. And thank you guys for the new Substack audience that we're gaining on a daily basis, which you would expect on all platforms, but we know how that goes. Announcement again, I guess I'll just announce it every day. On Friday, I will be at this press conference exposing the all this that you can see right there. And so it'll be very emotional there with the prayer vigil going on and continuing to expose the all the bat problems that went on and continue to go on here in America in public health there. Be sure to tune in live. You see they're kicking off at 1 p.m. Friday, August 8th. I'll be working in conjunction there with Children's Health Defense, amongst others. I think we have another guy too. So should be a pretty big broadcast as far as eyeballs on it. But no, it's coming from me at Weaponized News. So let's hear a word from Abazaba Enterprises, and then we'll be back with the second half of the show and a lot more news for you.
Running a small business feeling overwhelmed by numbers and paperwork? Abazaba Enterprises has your back. Our expert business solutions include accounting, QuickBooks support, payroll, taxes, and top-notch consulting. Let us handle the details so you can focus on growing your business. Business Solutions Accounting, QuickBooks Consulting, Payroll, Taxes. Call 559-577-9250. Call Abazaba Enterprises today at 559-577-9250 for stress-free solutions.
And we're back. What do they say here? A bunch of atheists that worship an inanimate wall. Totally not creepy or satanic at all. Dimmer said. Yeah, I don't know if they're atheists. I think I do believe they believe in something, and they're always praising God, but I just don't think it's the same God that we think it is. Yeah, it's beyond bizarre, right? But the noticing continues, and more people, they're losing. They already lost the next generation here now. It's just these people indoctrinated by the corrupt churches in America, and they're losing audience fast here because they're signing off on genocide, and the world can see it, and they already lost the next generation here in America, and they know that too. Their time is coming to an end. That's why the bum rush to get the plan done now, because they know their window of opportunity is closing, which is good. But how many people have to die and suffer along the way is the hard part that we're living through right now. Okay, on to federal government. You listen to their dietary guidelines, you must be a crazy person. But I know all the institutions here in America do. And have you ever seen hospital food? People are I always see people posting the picture, just got out of surgery, and it's like, it's some garbage processed food, and it's like, very healthy here at the hospital. I'm recovering well from this, right? And it's just like, it's not healthy on its face, you can tell. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's the level of idiocracy, corruption that we're at here in American public health. But the HHS under Bobby Kennedy Jr., let's hear from him. He says dietary guidelines will soon be updated. The dietary guidelines that we inherited from the Biden administration were 453 pages long. We're going to release dietary guidelines that are 4, 5, 6 pages maybe, that will allow people to make good choices. Well, your first good choice would be, don't listen to a damn word that these lying criminals in the federal government have to say.
I'm also working with Secretary Rollins on the dietary guidelines, which should come out next month. The dietary, they're coming out, I think, at the end of September, 3 months ahead of schedule. And the dietary guidelines that we inherited from the Biden administration were 453 pages long. They were driven by the same commercial impulses that put Fruit Loops at the top of the food pyramid. And they were incomprehensible. And we are going to release dietary guidelines that are 4, 5, or 6 pages long, that are understandable, that are simple, and will allow people to make good choices about their food. They will drive changes in the school lunch program, in prison lunches, and military food, and they will begin to change America almost immediately.
Carrie says she was in the hospital in November and the food was great. Well, you had, I don't know what hospital, but good for you, good for that hospital. But I don't think that's the norm, honestly. It has never been my experience. And what's Denver say? How to navigate food choices around DIQUOT? What page is that? Well, you just drink a bottle of it, and then when you get really sick and cancer and die, you sue them. No, oh well, they're trying to block any liability for these chemical makers. Who could say we did not see this coming from Bayer and the rest of big chemical, big ag, and the like? Again, Diquat 200 times more toxic than glyphosate. John Muir in Walnut Creek. Well, I guess that is a good hospital. If Carrie says she had good food there, well, bless their heart. Somebody at least has some sense in this freaking in the healthcare system, because by large majority, it's like not good. I go back to having a premature baby in the NICU at Kaiser here in Fresno, California, and them telling me I need to, well, I think they prescribed it, or maybe they just handed it to me, I forget, but they said, here are fluoride drop supplements for your baby, my premature baby, in the NICU unit at Kaiser in Fresno, California. I almost lost my friggin' mind. I was like, first off, the baby doesn't have any teeth. Second off, the baby's a premature here, having issues already. And you offer me fluoride drops for my premature baby with no teeth. And then I read the ingredients on the back of the Kaiser prescribed formula. And it has high fructose corn syrup, GMOs, go down the list of toxic crap. And I was just like, oh, but you're a nutritional specialist from the hospital. So you're the expert on these things. And I'm baffled why you would, offer up such toxins to a premature baby. So that hasn't been my experience. But bless your heart there, Carrie. Thankfully, you've had a better experience than myself and most others, for sure. I had a nutritionist to get my order every 2 days. Well, that's sounds like that hospital was actually trying to do something good. Pfizer kills, I know. Yeah, Pfizer is a whole nother story there. Pfizer, Kaiser, what's the difference? Okay, what do we got here? So it's come out, the federal government, HHS, has admitted the corruption of the organ transplant system here in America is quite shocking and disturbing, to say the least. There's reports of them terminating people for their organs while they're alive, or harvesting organs while they're alive. HHS now says only a sick system prioritizes profit over patients. Well, welcome to Rockefeller medicine there, Bobby Kennedy Jr. I thought you knew. I'm pretty sure he does. That ended thanks to the leadership of Trump and Bobby Kennedy Jr. HHS, how we're fixing the organ transplant system that betrayed America. Really? The same corrupt people? Isn't it the people that are working in the system that are allowing this to happen, not dictates from the government? Dictates from the government sure do help, but the same surgeons, the same supply chain that allowed the harvesting of American patients' organs while they're still alive, all those same people are still in place here now. The dictates from the government may change, but those same corrupt, evil people are still all in place. It's a question of morality, and they have none in the American medical system, or very far and few between here now do. And it's quite despicable and disgusting. But I saw this post and I was like, wait a minute. Because of dictates from HHS, you just changed everybody's morality not to be evil and harvest organs from patients that are still alive? I seriously doubt that. Again, public service announcement: remove donor from your driver's license, or you may be the next alive patient to have his or her organs harvested. Continuing here, that is quite a scandal, actually. Well, let's hear this. Bobby Kennedy Jr. I think do they talk about in this one about, maybe not, but I did see other reports about, yeah, they're still alive. but it's all about the medical definition of when you're actually not here anymore, right?
Organs harvested from patients that are still moving. I heard that from a congressional hearing last week. What can you tell us?
Yeah, I mean, it's a horror story, and part of it is because of the capture of the agency that was regulating ORR. The board that was actually regulating organ harvesting was overlapping with the contractor that was actually harvesting the organs, and it was done state by state. Some of the states were just truly, it was a nightmare. And it was sickening to read these stories. In one instance where a family was waiting at the hospital for the body of their deceased relative. The relative was brought to one of these private organ harvesting centers, awoke while they were harvesting her organs, and then was brought back to the hospital in the fact where she died eventually. But the family, brought litigation, and that's the only reason that we learned of this story. We've done a complete investigation of that company. We've taken the contract away from that company, and we're reorganizing it so that we will be regulating it and running it directly at HHS.
But no criminal prosecution. Oh, we took away their contract. Slap on the wrist. They're literally killing people for their organs. And as Karen says, can't get organs from an actual dead body. So there's that too. Oh man. But Maha, they're saving us. Trump cares about your public health. The father of the miracle, right? Well, we had this report over the weekend. CBS News tells us that Pfizer CEO attending $25 million fundraiser at Trump's golf club after president demands drug price cuts. How about get off of all pharmaceutical drugs? They go on to say here, of course, everybody's favorite, he saved the world many times. Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla is among those expected at a fundraiser for President Trump this coming Friday. Did it already happen? I don't even know. Anyway, it may have already happened. But look, the White House letters to 17 drug companies, including AstraZeneca, Bristol Myers Squibb, Eli Lilly, Johnson & Johnson. Nobody gets in trouble for the 100,000 plus Americans killed by opiate overdoses. Ask for commitments within 60 days to sell drugs for Medicare patients and all new drugs at a most favored nations rate. Maha, a big fundraiser with all big pharma there. And then what else do we got here? Last report from about public health. Bobby Kennedy Jr. $50 billion over 5 years will go to rural hospitals and communities, strengthening the backbone of America and giving our farmers the support they've long deserved. Well, after you use that dicot, you can go to your rural hospital there and wonder why you're ill.
I want to thank President Trump for the big, beautiful bill. If we're going to save the American farmers, we need to save rural America. Right now, Medicaid gives about 7% of its funds to rural hospitals. 7%. It's about $20 million a year, $20 billion a year. We are now going to add, through the Rural Transformation Bill, we're going to add another $50 billion over 5 years. So $10 billion a year that's going to be distributed to the states, to rural areas, and that is going to add about a third of the money that they now receive from Medicaid and it will transform them, and it will allow these institutions, which are so critical to the economies, to the culture, to the health of rural life, it will allow them to flourish. And the president understands the American farmer. He did more during his first term to save American farmers than any other president. And we are going to continue that tradition. So thank you very much.
We're not getting any true reform here. We're just getting head fakes and throw money at the problem. Well, I guess we got rid of dye. Oh, and they got rid of mercury, right? But they told us there wasn't any mercury. So more lies. But we caught them in 2 stone cold lies today. Propaganda from the Department of Defense as we get into the scientific dictatorship technocracy section of the show. Always heartwarming about, makes me optimistic for the future. But let's watch this propaganda video out of the Department of Defense, or as it used to be more honestly called, the Department of War.
You will feel fatigue. You will feel fear. You will feel happiness. You will feel regret. You will feel sadness. At the end of the day, you will continue to breathe fire. Here's what I tell you to do, and it's almost one of those impossible tasks, but you gotta fight for it every day. You gotta use that operational instinct, and you gotta know what happens before it happens. You gotta stay methodical on the field. You gotta stay clear-headed on the field. You gotta work any resource as required. Kill the enemy! Kill the enemy! Kill the enemy! You are obligated to protect and serve the Marines on the left and right flank of you 24/7. All come home together. Gonna go. You gotta do the unit proud. You do your country proud. Don't let fear get in that brain of yours.
U.S. Department of Defense propaganda there. Denver's dropping some links there. Private equity deals are reshaping your healthcare. Yeah, they've commoditized and weaponized public health for you, for your own health, of course. Which they've commoditized virtually everything in this country. And the plan is to tokenize everything, every quote asset, log it and book it on the blockchain and own it. And you'll own nothing and be happy, as the World Economic Forum has famously told us, and we're well on our way there in 2025 as we rush toward 2030 goals for sustainable development as part of the One World Government agenda. We're in the midst of the Great Reset right now. I know MAGA, rah, 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 America, but I'm sorry, that agenda continues. The Department of Energy tells us the AI age is revolutionizing medicine. Barriers between DNA and disease treatment are being broken. Scientists have developed, it's just gibberish, EPBDX DNA BERT-2, a multi-module AI that predicts protein DNA interactions, transforming cancer treatments and genetic research. I have a hard time believing any of this nonsense, but this is their claim, so I'll report it to you here from Department of Energy. I seriously have a hard time believing any of this, but here's the gibberish that they call it there. On our way to scientific dictatorship technocracy. Oh no, we're not there yet. We still have our ICE section here, propaganda. Join ICE.gov. They're doing a massive recruitment here. Already way behind on the promised mass deportations. Signing bonus plus $50,000. Student loan repayment of plus $60,000. Premium pay 25%. I don't even know what that means. More, 25% more. Securing America's borders priceless. Join ICE today. And then here's your propaganda video from poster from Homeland Security right there. And so I guess they repurposed this old World War I, World War II propaganda. But you do see the fasci there, and you do see the bolts of lightning. I'm sure there's occult symbolism in here. We don't have time to go over it, but you do see the fasci sticks tied together there on the unrolling of this propaganda poster. America needs you. Join ICE now. And then here is the joinice.gov. Of course, this famous Uncle Sam needs you to go and die in a legal foreign war of aggression. Now the war's here at home. America has been invaded by criminals and predators. We need you to get them out. You do not need an undergraduate degree. You may be entitled to up to these benefits. As aforementioned, we visited the site before. You can become a deportation officer, criminal investigator, or general attorney. And so there you have it. They're looking to recruit upwards of 10,000 more ICE agents to carry out the mass deportation efforts, which thus far have been nothing but smoke and mirrors from the Trump administration. Promises made, you were lied to, because it's not happening. They are getting a few very bad criminals, I'll give them that, but nowhere near the mass deportation of 20 million. Who even knows how many? Let's just say 20 million illegal aliens in this country, probably many more than that. It just simply hasn't happened. 7 months in now to the Trump administration. They're attempting to do something here now to save face. I don't think it'll work. We're way behind schedule here. Way behind schedule. And on to Ice Barbie here, Kristi Noem, dog killer. She says, happy birthday to the Coast Guard. Again, lying about the origins of the Coast Guard. Why would they do such a thing? I don't know. Because they're called revenue cutters initially. It's show business. Do we even show her? Look at this. Here she is speaking to the Coast Guard. Like, seriously? Force Design 2028. Since 1790, the U.S. Coast Guard has defended our shores against foreign enemies, drug cartels, and human traffickers. That's right, because the U.S. federal government runs all illicit activity on the planet. They're the head crime syndicate. Think mafia, but think on a global scale, and that is your U.S. federal government. So you're damn straight they're defending against any competition in the illicit markets of the world here now. From the front lines of the fentanyl crisis to life-saving evacuations and high seas interdictions, these heroes don't shy away from the storm. They run into it. And indeed, I believe that the men and women serving in the Coast Guard are, the majority are doing it with good intentions. I do believe that. But their controllers, the order givers, are just beyond criminal at this point. So the order followers at some point have to question the morality of the orders they're being given here now. There's never been a better time to be a coastie. Trump has ushered in a bold new chapter with historic investment through Force Design 2028. We got to look that up. We have your back, like you have ours. Thank you for serving with honor. Continuing here. FEMA camps nationwide. You may ask, do I get the top bunk? Kristi Noem says, Alligator Alcatraz to be model for ICE state-run detention centers. And if they ever did get this going, the mass deportation, and they got rid of all the illegal aliens, what are they going to do with all the FEMA camps? Oh, political dissidents, dare you say? Well, we'll get to the surveillance police state, scientific technocracy, scientific dictatorship technocracy that they've already essentially built here through Palantir and other systems. But let's hear about the FEMA camps here. I get top bunk again, but I don't think I'll ever even make it there.
Of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem tells CBS News the ICE detention facility you may have heard at is known as Alligator Alcatraz. It could serve as the new model for other similar detention centers across the country. CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Skanger just returned from an overseas trip with the secretary. Good morning, Nicole. Saw some of your images on social media. I think I liked it. Seemed like you went on a really insightful tour. What did the secretary show and tell you?
Yeah, Errol, a fascinating tour and a fascinating interview. The secretary told CBS News that she hopes to launch really a handful of these detention centers in multiple airports and jails in the coming months. Potential sites are already under consideration in, get this, Arizona, Nebraska, and Louisiana. Now, Noem said the locations DHS is looking at right now are nearby airport runways that she says will help the department efficiently detain and deport individuals. She added she's appealed directly to governors, to state leaders nationwide, so to sort of read their interest in contributing to the Trump administration's detention expansion. Now, the DHS strategy, as you mentioned, it builds on the opening of that 3,000-bed detention center at a jet port in South Florida last month, Alligator Alcatraz, that makeshift facility costing an estimated $450 million to operate in its first year. It was up and running in just 8 days. The tents and trailers surrounded by 39 square miles of isolated swampland. And if that sounds treacherous, I mean, the secretary told me that's kind of the point. She says there's definitely a message that it sends. President Trump wants people to know if you're a violent criminal and you're in this country, there will be consequences. Noem also told me that deterrence is an effective strategy based on U.S. gathered intelligence from three-letter agencies, from other intelligence officials throughout the federal government, and in Latin and South America. She said it indicates overwhelmingly that what encourages people to go back home voluntarily is the consequences. And so the DHS secretary referenced that when she met with the Mexican president in March, the leader told her that 500,000 to 600,000 people have come back voluntarily to Mexico. And it's a data point she asked of many of the foreign leaders that she met with during our trip, including Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa, who shared lunch with the secretary last Thursday. Noem told us that Noboa says he thinks over 100,000 Ecuadorians have come back home since the Trump administration.
Wow, fascinating to hear about this potential expansion. Democrats have claimed that these places are inhumane. We know there may be legal challenges. And Nicole, while we thank you, we want to encourage viewers to head to cbsnews.com and see more of your comprehensive reporting. Nicole, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, we love our FEMA camps here in America. Yeah, the locations we're looking at are right by airport runways. Denver says highly contaminated zones. Air particles close to runways is probably higher, and the particulates are probably like tire rubber aerosolized by tints. And the it's quite horrific. Yeah. What's up with Mayorkas? Why is he not in one of these FEMA camps? Why is he not in federal prison right now? Oh, because they're going to get him along with Clapper, Brennan, and Comey, let me tell you. And Obama, too, let me tell you. So they're going to build these camps, apparently, all over the place. And again, what are they going to do when they come for you? Continuing, police nationwide are embracing a new first responders, drones. And so this is your scientific dictatorship, technocracy. In dozens of U.S. cities, the Washington Compost reports The next time you call 911, a drone might show up before an officer does. The technology behind that drone as first responder, or DFR, has skyrocketed in popularity among police departments nationwide since the Federal Aviation Administration streamlined the process for agencies to adopt the program this spring. While it could previously take up to a year to get approval, it now takes just days. Law enforcement and the drone industry leaders praise the technology as life-saving. Isn't it always for your life? We care about public safety. We're saving your life, with the potential to help authorities in situations ranging from missing persons cases to active shooter incidences. Well, I believe that it will be used for good in some cases, but the potential for abuse by the government is legion here now. Why? We need to be aware and not just, oh, they care about our health, they care about our life. Bullshit. 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 They don't. They don't. They don't. They don't. Okay? So let's just cut that nonsense. I know our audience knows this, but it's all just so tiring here now. It's for public safety. It's for national security. It's for your health. Okay, Trump's big, beautiful bill allocates significant funding for biometric surveillance and AI tech. Well, isn't that wonderful? It's all for the greater good, don't you know? And that's from a Free Thought Project. And we're going to get this guy on. I've been talking to him later in the month. He's busy, and so I understand. So I believe either the third or fourth week of August, we'll have this guy on, Jason Balser, from co-founder of Free Thought Project, continuing to sound the alarm about the technocracy, about police brutality and abuse and the like here, and institutional abuse across America. And so it'll be great to have him on the show later in the month. Let's get into it now. Palantir, Peter Thiel. What's the post say? This is Free Thought Project 2.0. They say, is Peter Thiel's current role as technocratic kingmaker more concerning than the legacy left by the Carnegies, Rockefellers, and Rothschilds? I don't know. Let's watch this short clip.
I've considered Peter Thiel to be the most dangerous person to everything worthwhile we have as a civilization. He goes well beyond the Carnegies and Rockefellers or the Rothschilds, who are more specialized. This is the information age, and he was well placed, starting around the turn of the century, to take advantage of that and to ensure that the information age would be something different from what we all hoped it would be, rather than leading to greater openness, more transparency, more ease in finding out facts about things. It is instead metastasized into what we have today. Peter Thiel is very much responsible for almost all of it.
Can you wait for J.D. Vance to be president? Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's like 6 now, and this is just going, I think I found it on Drudge Report. I'll just go through the headlines, and then we'll give you the mashup summary of these nightmarish dystopian headlines about the scientific dictatorship technocracy. Palantir gets $10 billion contract from U.S. Army. In Trump's Washington, Palantir is winning big from war fighting and tracking deportations to writing State Department cables with AI. The company is benefiting from a new technologically driven cost-cutting ethos in Washington. They don't give a damn about cutting costs. Okay, let's get that straight. Or big government. They want control, and they got it. So let's get it straight. Palantir is extending its reach even further into government. Palantir has become one of the few winners in the Trump administration's cost-cutting efforts. Again, that's all a front, offering other contractors a lifeline while consolidating its own reach and power. We're creating AI that could surveil U.S. citizens, and the government is in on it. Even USA Today is warning here now. It's getting very bad. It's getting very bad very fast. And so I know Sarah Connor, John Connor are not happy with me, but I'm going to use the tools at my disposal. And so I fed these into the AI and I said, give me a summary of all these articles and give me the top 10 critical points that we should be concerned about with the emergence here now of technocracy. And the AI summary came back to tell me the provided articles collectively highlight the rapid expansion of technology companies, particularly Palantir, and to a lesser extent, OpenAI, and partnering with the U.S. government under the Trump administration to deploy AI and data analytics tools for various purposes, including surveillance, military operations, immigration enforcement, and bureaucratic efficiency. Palantir, co-founded by Peter Thiel, has secured hundreds of millions in contracts, such as a $795 million Pentagon deal for the Maven Smart System AI software. That's one I never even heard of. Got to look that up. Maven Smart System AI software. Expansions with the IRS for data modernization, and tools for the Department of Homeland Security to track immigration. Partnerships with firms like Accuture, Booz Allen, and Deloitte are enabling Palantir to integrate its software across agencies, creating unified data systems and potentially positioning it as a dominant gatekeeper in government tech. OpenAI is also entering the space with OpenAI for Government, aimed at enhancing national security through AI. While these developments are framed as efficiency gains and cost-cutting measures, aligned with initiatives like Doge, led by Musk, critics raise alarms about privacy, erosion of civil liberties violations, and risk of a mass surveillance state. We're already there. We're not at risk. We're there, living in it. August 4th, 2025. Protests against Palantir's role in deportation tracking and predictive policing underscore fears and biases. Unchecked technological power, historical abuses like the crime syndicate known as the federal government, I added that, like NSA warrantless spying, are cited as warning of potential misuse. Top 10 points critical of scientific dictatorship technocracy. Scientific dictatorship technocracy refers to a system where scientific and technological experts wield authoritarian control over society, often through surveillance and data manipulation, sidelining, quote, democratic processes. Based on the articles provided, here are the top 10 critical points. Erosion of privacy and civil liberties. AI tools enable comprehensive data collection on individuals, creating detailed profiles that can be used for surveillance without adequate safeguards. Bill of Rights, natural law, screw you. Threatening constitutional rights like those of Hispanic Americans targeted in deportation efforts. Lack of transparency and accountability. Tech companies like Palantir and OpenAI develop surveillance AI with government partnerships, but provide minimal details on how data is used, echoing past abuses like NSA spying and bat disease censorship. They've been spying since they invented the freaking telegraph, for God's sake. We reported on it when the freaking Union Army went and seized all the telegraph data back in the 69 or whatever the hell it was. Monopolistic control over government systems. Palantir's expanding role as a, quote, gatekeeper in federal software creates unfair competition and dependency, allowing unelected technocrats to dictate bureaucratic operations across agencies. Potential for political weaponization, you say? You don't say, AI Gronk. Surveillance tech could target dissidents or minorities, as seen in Palantir's immigration tracking and predictive policing, fostering a paranoid digital regime that simulates and controls societal behavior. We're already there, man. Bypassing democratic checks, rushed contract expansions influenced by administration connections, ignore usual oversight, prioritizing technocratic efficiency over rule of law and public input. Risk of AI imperfections and errors, flawed systems like those in drone footage analysis and data unification could lead to miscarriages of justice, amplifying human biases under the guise of scientific objectivity. Centralization of power in tech elites. Figures like Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, through Palantir and Doge embody the technocratic elite, reshaping government without electoral accountability, dismantling bureaucracy via technology. Surveillance state parallels to dystopias. Tools embedding real-time tracking and predictive enforcement resemble Minority Report style pre-crime surveillance systems, turning science into a tool for predictive control, or preemptive control, excuse me, and predictive control. Historical precedents of abuse. Government tech collaborations repeat patterns like warrantless NSA surveillance, where scientific methods justify mass data collection on citizens without warrants. Threat to national freedom. The fusion of big tech and big government risk a full-fledged dictatorship where AI serves national security claims, but actually undermines public good by enabling unchecked monitoring and control, and I would add violation of your natural rights. So there you have it. It's already here. They already did it. More from Jason Bassler. Flock plus Palantir. Flock plus Palantir surveillance loop. Numerous law enforcement agencies using Flock's license plate readers pair them with Palantir's Gotham software. It's widely believed but not confirmed that Palantir can pull from Flock data when agencies use both platforms. Palantir is built to ingest any data set, license plates, 911 calls, utility bills, financial records, etc., etc. Now connect the dots. Flock scans your license plate, scans your car. Palantir links it to your digital footprint. Flock provides the eyes. Palantir provides the brain. Trump's big beautiful bill pumps billions into AI analytics, real-time tracking, biometrics, and predictive policing, accelerating the rise of Flock and Palantir systems. Remember, these private companies, no transparency laws, no oversight. This isn't surveillance for crimes you committed. It's prediction. You're not a suspect. You're a data point in a threat forecast. The cameras are watching. The algorithm never sleeps. Welcome to the age of pre-crime. Isn't that wonderful for our safety? Of course. Let's hear now. What do we have? A couple more reports on the nightmare dystopian. Well, actually, yeah, a couple more. Let's hear old Whitney Webb about Palantir is the new Jeffrey Epstein clip here.
again, to bring it back to a question you asked earlier on about, Israel and blackmail, they don't really need blackmail anymore. And I argue at the end of my book that Palantir, Peter Thiel's company, really makes it so that, that's the new Jeffrey Epstein at the end of the day. If they want to blackmail you or know something about you, they just access what Palantir sucked up about you and your search history, your communications, your finances, tweets you've liked in the past, all sorts of things. You don't really need Epstein in the surveillance era,
Do you think when they said tweets are private, it was just an inducement to get us all to like what we really want to like so they can hold it against us later?
It's possible if they want to hold it against you later. The disturbing thing about Palantir is that it's really about pre-crime. They were the pioneers of predictive policing. They were originally, almost everywhere they piloted predictive policing have been low-income minority neighborhoods. Where they decide who's going to commit a crime before they commit it. And that's essentially what we'll see. Administrative detention, maybe, if we go the Israeli path. But Trump actually, in his first term, posited this program to stop mass shootings before they happen. That would basically involve going over American social media posts and identifying if they had early warning signs of neuropsychiatric illness based on their, tweets or Facebook posts. And if they were determined by the algorithm to show those warning signs, they could be, placed under house arrest or go to sessions with a court-ordered psychologist and all sorts of things.
Well, some of my extended relatives better be careful because they got some wild Facebook posts. I had to leave the app.
So do a lot of Americans, and it's worth pointing out that a lot of social media companies like Facebook have a lot of ties to Peter Thiel at the same time he was setting up Palantir, and that Facebook has a lot of similarities to a failed DARPA project called LifeLog that arguably Facebook was resurrected into, because Palantir is the resurrection of another DARPA program called Total Information Awareness that was so scandalous when it was announced it was defunded by Congress, but then they realized that if they turned it into a private company, no one would complain, and that's how we got Palantir.
Why are they all building underground bunkers, says your tech oligarch drone clone, robots, lizards. Are they even human? Who knows? Zuckerberg, Thiel, Altman, all have underground bunkers. What's up with that? What's up with that? I think maybe someday, some way, maybe, possibly, the citizens may not be liking this technocracy they're rolling out. I don't know. Or maybe it's just a sign of status amongst elites, billionaires, to have an underground bunker as they engineer, the end of the world here now as we know it. Peter Thiel, a New Zealand citizen, has filed plans to build a luxury lodge, which local sources and investigative reports suggest is actually a high security underground bunker with private farmland. Mark Zuckerberg has quietly developed over 2,300 acres on Kauai, Hawaii, featuring 2 massive mansions, agricultural operations, and a 5,000-foot underground shelter equipped with blast-resistant doors, escape hatches, self-sufficiency systems like water tanks, pump systems, and layered security infrastructure. OpenAI Sam Altman has openly said that he's preparing for societal collapse. He's admitted to stockpiling guns, gold, gas, antibiotics, and owns a getaway ranch. He has also confirmed that his home is fortified with a reinforced underground basement. Okay, let's recap again. Jason Belser here with some great posts. He's a great follow over there on the X. I'll put it up there. Give him a follow. He goes on to say, let's recap. Real ID enforced, stable coins incoming, mRNA Stargate project, TSA biometric overhaul, ICE using facial recognition, Palantir in 30 plus federal agencies, Google, Amazon, health data tracking, AI surveillance towers scanning highways, surveillance state engaged. Indeed it is. We got a compliment from Ruckus there. Sam has great hair gel. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. My impersonation of the great governor, Gavin Newsom here. Palantir stock skyrocketed 478% in a year. Here's the chart, literally off the chart. Driven by massive government contracts for predictive policing, immigration tracking, and biometric surveillance, while profits soar, privacy risks go unchecked. And you could see with the other big techs, Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, all growing, right? But I mean, 55% for NVIDIA is pretty big. Apple actually went down there a little bit. I don't know what's up with them. And then Microsoft, 17%. Massive growth there in the stock price. But I mean, this is just otherworldly for Palantir, right? Well, I guess when the federal government signed the check, the sky's the limit, i.e. the taxpayers, on the taxpayer back. And so we're paying for our own enslavement. Isn't it wonderful? Today, it was announced data mining and analytics company Palantir reported revenue ahead of Wall Street expectations for Q2 calendar year 2025, with sales up 48% this year. They're booking $1 billion revenue in sales. So it must be nice to have Uncle Sam, i.e. American taxpayers, signing a blank check for you. Must be nice. Who could have predicted that? I don't know. Palantir. Okay, so that's I think a pretty good layout about the nightmare that we're facing here now. We must not comply or be enslaved to the beast system forever. The choice is yours. On to some dystopian sci-fi stuff out of China here. Weaponized robots, 3D printed robotic drone that dominates land, sea, and air. Man, X is not doing us any favors with the old throttling videos here now. Sorry about that. Looks like Gunther is signing off for this evening. Have a wonderful evening. Okay, here we go.
这个就是我们刚完成的一个小虫子，先根据自己的设想把手稿画出来，再把它的模型建出来。最近有朋友推荐了佳力创 3D 打印平台，能打印树脂、金属、尼龙、塑料，每个月还能免费打样。看了看他们电子和机械类业务还挺全。 这样锻炼下去，我手搓水平得大幅提升了。打印件很快就收到了，这个打印的效果精度还是很高的。接下来就是开始组装了。
And weaponized against you. Okay, a little bit geopolitical news here for you today. President Lula of Brazil says it's time for the world to move away from the US dollar. He also makes the claim that the United States has tried a coup against his Brazilian government.
Mas, obviamente, que eu não vou deixar de compreender a importância da relação diplomática com os Estados Unidos, que já dura 201 anos. Eu não vou esquecer que eles também já deram golpe aqui, ajudaram a dar golpe. Mas o que eu quero saber é daqui para frente o que é que eu faço. E daqui para frente eles têm que saber que nós temos o que negociar. Nós temos tamanho, nós temos postura, nós temos interesses econômicos e interesses políticos para negociar. Eu não vou abrir mão de achar que a gente precisa procurar construir uma moeda alternativa para que a gente possa negociar com os outros países. Eu não preciso ficar subordinado ao dólar. Mas, obviamente, que eu não vou...
I don't know, he's saying work toward alternative currency other than the dollar. Brazil's top court places former President Bolsonaro on house arrest. And then India responds after Trump attacks it for Russian oil. United States and EU have targeted India. Foreign minister out of India says U.S. continues to import from Russia uranium, hexafluoride, palladium, and fertilizers. New Delhi will safeguard national interest. Here's the official statement from the Ministry of External Affairs, India, regarding America tariffs by Trump. India has been targeted by the United States and the European Union for importing oil from Russia after the commencement of the Ukraine conflict. In fact, India began importing from Russia because traditional supplies were diverted to Europe after the outbreak of the conflict. The United States at that time actively engaged in such imports by India for strengthening global energy market stability. India's imports are meant to ensure predictable and affordable energy costs to the Indian consumer. They are a necessity compelled by global market situation. However, it is revealing that the very nations criticizing India are themselves indulging in trade with Russia. Unlike our case, such trade is not even a vital national compulsion. The European Union in 2024 had a bilateral trade of 667.5 billion euros in goods with Russia. In addition, it had trade in services estimated at 17.2 billion euros in 2023. This is significantly more than India's total trade with Russia that year, subsequently. European imports of natural gas in 2024, in fact, reached a record of 6.5, however it's measured, metric tons, surpassing the last record of 15.21 metric tons in 2022. Europe-Russia trade includes not just energy, but also fertilizer, mining products, chemicals, iron, and steel and machinery and transport equipment. Where the United States is concerned, it continues to import from Russia aforementioned uranium, hexafluoride for its nuclear industry, palladium for its EV industry, fertilizers, as well as chemicals. In the background, the targeting of India is unjustified and unreasonable. Like any major economy, India will take all necessary measures to safeguard its national interests and economic security. So if all of that's true, then that means Trump's full of shit. I know, shocking, right? Shocking, I know. Well, EU and Trump are full of shit, if that's a true statement by India. Putin bad, of course. He caused this magnitude 6 earthquake there off the coast of Russia. You can see right there. Or is that even Russia? That's not even Russia, this part, but off the coast of Russia, I guess you could say. And so, of course, it's Putin's fault, and Putin's bad. The most evil man in the world, YouTube, causing another earthquake after the monster 8.8 we saw last week. There's 6.0 recorded in Kamchatka off the coast. Okay. What do we got? Aardvark news to wrap up the show here, as we're almost at the 2-hour mark. Let me get right to it. Our Lord and Savior, Shadow President Bibi Netanyahu. Let's hear his message of the day. Aardvark land facing vilification, cites middle-aged lies about the noticing that we've noticed has happened throughout history of problems with aardvarks.
In the Middle Ages, all the massacres against Jews were preceded by horrible vilifications. The lies that were leveled against the Jews spread around the globe. We were poisoning the wells. We were carriers of disease. We slaughtered Christian children in order to drink their blood. And this spread from country to country and created massacre after massacre, culminating in the worst massacre of them all, the Holocaust, in which 6 million innocent Jews were led to the slaughter. Today, the Jewish state is facing similar vilifications. They lie about us. They say that we're deliberately starving Palestinian children. That's a barefaced lie. Since the beginning of the war, we have let in almost 2 million tons of food. 2 million tons of food for Palestinian civilians, Palestinian children. That's been our policy. But in the last few months, this humanitarian aid has been interdicted by Hamas looting. They steal the food from their own people. But in the last few months, that food has not been reaching the Palestinian civilians because Hamas is stealing it. So we've decided to go around it. I've authorized the Israeli Air Force to airdrop humanitarian food and medical supplies to Palestinian civilians. We invited other countries to join these airdrops, and many have. We also designated safe corridors through which these trucks can travel without being looted by Hamas or endangered by combat activity. And we're talking now to our American friends about further steps to alleviate any possibility of hunger or the appearance of hunger. We're committed to doing this, just as we're committing to free Gaza from the tyranny of these terrorists. And many Gazans come to us and they say, help us be free. Help us be free of Hamas, of their terror, of their cruelty, of their tyranny.
Well, I believe everything that Mr. Poland, man, Natalie, I was watching the Grand Theft World podcast last night, and they had this clip where they even show him a young Netanyahu, like in early 80s, late 70s, debating the statehood and whatnot. And they had him at that debate, Natalie as his name, I do believe. And so a total imposter there, put Hamas in power, essentially there to be the boogeyman. So I believe everything he says because he's known liar that doesn't even go by his real name. And so, of course, you would believe him because you don't want to be antiseptic. And then that brings this into question, why you're winning the information war here now, Hamas, right? At least on the front where the world is, except for America, but the majority of the rest of the Western world has now recognized the genocide going on there, ethnic cleansing, and siege on clean water, food, medicine, energy, and the like. Why? It make no damn sense unless, again, who's pulling the strings on Hamas? Western intelligence. Why they would release this video of a starving aardvark in their captivity, allegedly, and it's horrific, and they shouldn't be starving this aardvark either. Let's watch this allegedly propaganda video released by Hamas. Make no damn sense, but it does if you say, well, it's all run by Western intelligence at the top pulling the strings.
מה שאני עושה עכשיו, אני חופר את הקבר, הקבר שמיד מבחינתי לי, כי כל יום שעובר הגוף שלי הולך, נחלש, נהיה רזה יותר וחלש יותר. מבחינתי זה נראה שאני בדרך למוות שלי. חופר לעצמי את הקבר שבו אני אולי אשכב, ובאמת כל יום שהולך ועובר הזמן נגמר, הזמן הולך ואוזל, ורק אתם תוכלו לעצור את זה.
And so, of course, that's horrific. They have the starving hostage digging his own grave, the evil Hamas terrorists. Of course, it's horrific, but it makes no sense at this time, at the time, a few days ago, last week, to release this video. It makes no damn sense whatsoever. He's went through a couple iterations. He's went through a couple iterations of his name. There, our shadow president, Bibi. Aardvarks took out a advertisement of this poor soul, this hostage, and put it up on the New York Times billboard. Here's that. Horrific images. And so there you go, tit for tat, war crimes, crimes against humanity. Horrific. Here's they'll probably tag me for copyright for playing this fool's video like they did with Jon Stewart. But here's John Oliver speaks on Palestine. Well, took him long enough. This guy's reading off a friggin' script, but they're finally coming around here. Took them long enough, but it is breaking through to the mainstream here. Here is Ireland's president, Michael Higgins, has called for the UN, for a UN Chapter 7 intervention to break the siege in Gaza. That's what I'm saying. We're going to wait a month to September to the General Assembly to make a show of it and then still get vetoed by America. Let's play this clip for you.
I cannot really stand in a public venue and give a public speech and speak about our language when I see such incredible destruction of an entire people being taking place. Are we to watch children starving? Women dehydrated who are trying to feed their children. So something must happen. Something must. I am personally in favor of the Secretary General of the United Nations using the procedures that are there in the Charter of the United Nations to use a Chapter 7, procedure, by which I mean, in fact, actually, that whether or not the Security Council agrees, and even if there's a blockage, the right exists for the Secretary General to seek to put together an international defence of a corridor. There are 6,000 trucks with enough food for 3 months, and it has been blocked, and it is outrageous.
But Bibi told us it's Hamas stealing it all. Yes, he needs to be. We got a lot of sanctions to issue here as more and more of this comes out. Indeed, Ruckus says Oliver needs sanctioning. They need sanctioning and droning and the whole. We know the routine here now. What is it? Even aardvarks have had enough, right? Because they know they can see the worm turning, but these maniacs in charge in America, they don't care. They literally don't care. Every living former chief of Aardvark's army, Aardvark Land's army, police, Shin Bet, Mossad, and military intelligence has issued a joint statement calling for an end to the war in Gaza, warning that it is no longer just and poses a threat to Aardvark Land's very identity. It's not, we don't have English translation, but yeah, what the hell? We'll show you a bunch of aardvarks that need to be sanctioned for being antiseptic. Here you go.
של רמטכ"לים, ראשי שירות, ראשי מוסד, מפכ"לים וראשי אמ"ן, כאן. כל האנשים כאן היו בקבינטים, היו במטבחונים, בכל תהליכי קבלת החלטות הכי רגישים. יותר מ1,000 שנים של ניסיון ביטחוני, מדיני, נתן לנו את החובה לקום ו...
So all them too. All them too. They're not stupid. They can see that the world's now turning against them. Here's Trump. Trump is stupid, apparently, or just a psychopath. Probably both a stupid psychopath on top of it. But he has a spell on idiot Americans, apparently, MAGA.
Genocide in Gaza? I don't think it's sad. Look, they're in a war. Some horrible things happened on October 7th, as you know. It was a horrible, horrible thing. One of the worst I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of bad things since some president in terms of wars and potential wars. I mean, if you look at the one that we just stopped, there are thousands of people being dead already at the border between Thailand and... Genocide in Gaza?
What was he saying? And there was like 50 people killed. It's just fake news, I guess, right? I watched this whole interview. It's quite shocking on the Grand Theft World podcast last night. Anyway, here it is. GHF, what is it? Gaza Humanitarian Foundation whistleblower Tony Aguilar. He's a decorated American soldier. The Hill. So it's breaking through the mainstream here. This guy right here, he signed up to go over there and help. He thought, right? He says, I was violating international law from the first moment I entered Aardvark Land armed on a tourist visa. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation whistleblower, retired Green Beret, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Aguilar. It's a long interview. It's like 45 minutes, something like this. I'll put the link. It's he lays it all out. He's like, it's war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide, ethnic cleansing. He lays it all out, exactly what's going on there as he saw and resigned from the operations. Says they're violating international law with all their actions, which they are indeed, as we continue to report here to you at Weaponized News. But pretty good interview with this guy on the Hill, or what, Breaking Points, the Hill outfit over there, mainstream, right? The link will be in the description of this, or you can just search it and go find it on Weaponized News Substack, so you could go see that very informative whistleblower telling you all about it firsthand. He went there and saw it and said, I can't be part of this, because he knew that he may be, committing war crimes of violating international law, and he just wasn't going to go along with it. So anyway, Weaponized News Substack, the link will be there, or you go search it out yourself. I don't know, but he's antiseptic, right? So he's apparently former U.S. Green Beret, is a Hamas sympathizer, or let's just call him what he is, Hamas, right? Right. Aardvark cabinet votes to fire Attorney General prosecuting Netanyahu. That news came out today. To stop him from starting another war, bombing Iran or some such. Every time it gets close to we're going to get some action on prosecuting Netanyahu for his corruption in Aardvark land, he bombs somebody or does some. Most of the time, let's attack Iran. You know what I mean? That was reported, but then now this was reported later in the day. Aardvark land court halts government firing of Attorney General investigating Netanyahu. And so they've got many internal problems over there in Aardvark land. Better believe it. Netanyahu to urge full conquest of Gaza as ceasefire talks reach impasse. There were no ceasefire talks. It's all total bullshit, as we reported to you and continue to report to you here at Weaponized News. There never was a ceasefire agreement. They never even, it's all bullshit. Negotiations on hostage and ceasefire deal. They've repeatedly told us they don't care about the hostages. There never will be a ceasefire. But they put on the dog and pony show. I don't even know why anymore. It's ridiculous. Negotiations on hostage and ceasefire deal in Gaza appear to be at an impasse, with Bibi leaning toward expanded military operations and Hamas demanding the humanitarian situation be addressed before it returns to the talks. Netanyahu will urge a meeting of the Security Cabinet tomorrow to support the full conquest of the Strip. As they've said multiple times, this has been their plan the entire freaking time. This isn't even news, honestly, but I just thought I would reiterate the fact here now for those just coming on and not following this, not following Weaponized News reporting, as we reported painfully throughout this entire genocide on exactly what all they intend to do. It's not a mystery. It's not a secret. They say it publicly, and they're saying it again here now. Aardvark land media reports plans to expand military offensive in Gaza. The BBC reports hundreds of ex-Aardvark security officials wrote to President Trump urging him to pressure Aardvark land to end the Gaza war, amid reports that Bibi is seeking to expand fighting. BBC. Well, all those aardvarks are antiseptic. The BBC's antiseptic. We got a whole lot of sanctioning and bombing to do here now, don't we? We do, indeed. America. Former IDF chiefs call on Aardvark land to end the war in Gaza. Time magazine. Even the CIA is reporting it here. It's beyond the pale of absurdity here now, isn't it? But yet the genocide will continue. You better believe it. This bastard, Ben Gvir. Aardvark land's Ben Gvir says he prayed at Alaska Mosque compound. Again, trying to incite the Muslims to make a move here. Continuing to desecrate their holy sites there in Aardvark land. I'm just waiting for the day they blow it up and start the construction of the third temple. What did Denver say? Green Beret that devoted his life to service to see what his flag is doing and supporting, as well as being the same rank as some corpo AI exec that have zero service has got to sting. It's truly disgusting. And by all rights, our own military should, do the right thing by the Constitution that they swore an oath to. It won't happen, but you know what I'm saying? Aardvark Land minister who led prayers at the controversial holy site has a record of provocative actions. The AP reports, we've been reporting on this for, I don't know how long, years already at this point. Yeah, because he's trying to provoke World War Z type, and then that will give them reason to go ahead and destroy that mosque. I'm surprised they haven't already, honestly. Provoke those actions, start a holy war with the Muslims is what they really want here now, to do the Armageddon, the Third Temple, the whole deal, as we've gone over here. The end times prophecy of the Zionists and the Christian Zionists as well. But somehow, some way, in the end days, the Christian Zionists are going to convert these aardvarks to Christianity. No, you're not. No, you're not. And then to wrap it up here, for this Monday edition of Weaponized News, here's old piece of trash, filth. Some say child molester. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, as he's in the West Bank. The West Bank was promised to the Aardvark people. Mike Johnson backs annexation in his visit to the illegally occupied Aardvark settlement, i.e. the West Bank. The world may not see it that way, but we do. What a piece of trash. I'm saying he's a child molester. I don't think we don't have a video or audio on this video, but proof that he was there signing off on ethnic cleansing, genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and probably having some little kids while he's over there as well. With that, we're going to wrap up this Monday edition of Weaponized News. Let's go to the channels and see. Let's go to Odysee first, as is the custom, and see if anybody is over there on the Odysee chat. A few people there. Gurr, Huffman, John, thank you for joining us on this Monday edition of Weaponized News. What do we got here? Gurr had to sign off. Let's see, what do we got here from John? It would seem that our only hope would be citizens destroying data centers, drones, and AI locations. We are not going to vote our freedoms back. Well, can't call for any violence or destruction of private property here on the show, but I definitely hear what you are saying there, John. They say Kamchatka, that where that earthquake was, right, is an important location for Russian military. It was once the location for ICBMs. I did not know that. Thank you for letting me know that, John. If it still is, it might be the target of exotic U.S. weapons. Well, hey, let's still blame Putin, though, right? Very interesting insights there. Thank you for that. More lies from the liar-in-chief, Satan Yahoo. Everything out of his mouth is a lie, right down to the denial of the murder of Christian children by aardvarks. Indeed. Even his name is a lie. Like, literally everything about the friggin' guy is a lie, because he's animated by the spirit of evil. Obviously, right? It's something else to behold here now. Another Russian saying, the aardvark will tell you what was done to him, but will never tell you why. Indeed. Thank you, John. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in on the Odysee stream. The Bitchute. Do we have anybody on the Bitchute here? Let's take a look. And Bitchute is doing better about loading the videos, so maybe they ironed out that bug they had in their system. Yeah, looking good on the Bitchute. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in on the Bitchute. Appreciate it. Facebook. Do we have anybody over there? A few people on the Facebook. My friend Joe, shout out to you, Joe, if you're listening. Thank you for tuning in. Elaine, thank you for tuning in on the Facebook, and others, as you may watch this on the replay. And then what else do we got? X, of course. Thank you for tuning in on X. And then our lively chat, as always, on the Rumble. We had Denver, Carrie, Snarky Guy, Silver Tail, who else did I see? Chloe, Ruckus. We had Fat Bob, aka Gunther. A few others over there. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Rumble and keeping that chat very lively as well. I know, flock them all, right? Indeed, Ruckus. And then what else did we have? We had a few people on the YouTube. Thank you for tuning in on the YouTube, the Kick, and the Twitch. And as always, everybody, do your own research. Peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Monday evening. We'll be back here tomorrow for more.